students. So we have already started with chapter number 2, and that in we have already started with the digestion in humans, right? In the previous class we have discussed about the process taking place in the buccal cavity, right? That is crushing and chewing of food. Mixing of saliva takes place with the help of tongue, right? Today we'll be discussing about the next part of the alimentary canal, that is esophagus, right? So what is esophagus? Okay, so esophagus is also called food pipe. It is also called food pipe. Now what does it do? It passes the food from buccal cavity into the stomach. So where it runs through the neck and through the chest, and passes the food into the stomach, right? How does it passes the food into the stomach? So as you can see the figure, the food passes in the stomach by movement called peristalsis movement. Peristalsis movement takes place in the stomach, in the esophagus, which pushes the food downward from buccal cavity into the stomach, right? There is no process of digestion as well as absorption takes place in esophagus, right? It is just a pathway which helps in the passing of food, right? Once the food reaches to the stomach, right, sometimes in certain food which has been eaten by a person gives irritation in the stomach, right? It gives irritation in the stomach. That irritation causes vomiting, right, where the food moves in the opposite direction, and from from stomach it comes again back to the mouth, right? So this was all about esophagus, right? Next we are going to discuss, that is about the stomach. So what is stomach, right? So this was the second part. So the next part that we are going to discuss, that is the third part, that is stomach, right? So you can see the figure of the stomach. What do you see? It is a thick wall, right? It is what? It is a thick walled bag, and its shape is what? It is a shape is like a flattened U shape, right? Its shape is like a flattened U shape. Okay, so what does it do? So you can see the stomach receives the food from one end, from esophagus, and then the other end opens into the small intestine, right? So it is between esophagus and small intestine, right? Now what are the secretions that has been secreted in the stomach? Okay, so secretions are three types of three secretions takes place. Number one is hydrochloric acid, right? Number two, that is digestive juice, right? And the third one, the third secretion that takes place is mucus secretion, right? Mucus secretion takes place. Understood? Yes. Papa.
No.
So let us see what does they perform, what does they do, right? So hydrochloric acid, whatever food we are eating, that might contain microorganisms, various microorganisms and bacteria. So what does they do? They kill the microorganisms, right? They kill the microorganisms. So what is the function of hydrochloric acid? Kills the bacteria, right? What is the function of digestive juice? So they digest proteins. Okay, So digestion of protein starts in stomach. And what does mucus do? So as mucus is a slimy layer that has been formed in the inner lining of the wall, अंदर के स्टमक के अंदर का जो लेयर होगा ना वहाँ पर म्यूकस सिक्रीशन होगा. What does it do? Function, what does it do? So as hydrochloric acid, you know, it causes burning sensation. So it will prevent mucus will prevent the stomach from the effect of hydrochloric acid, right? It will protect the stomach from the hydrochloric acid, right? So what does it do? It protects the stomach walls from hydrochloric acid, right? Understood? In stomach. Along with that, hydrochloric acid has one more function, that it makes the medium acidic. Why it makes the medium acidic? Because digestive juice that digests protein, right, that takes place in the presence of acidic medium only. तो अगर एसिडिक मीडियम नहीं होगी तो ये डाइजेस्टिव जूस प्रोटीन का डाइजेशन नहीं करेगा, राइट? सो इट इज नेसेसरी दैट द मीडियम इन द स्टमक शुड बी एसिडिक, राइट? सो दिस वाज ऑल अबाउट स्टमक, राइट? Fine. So next part, that after stomach, once the food has been there in the stomach, it passes into the small intestine, right? So let us discuss about the small intestine. So what does small intestine is, right? So small intestine, we can say it is the longest and highly coiled part of the alimentary canal. What? It is long and highly coiled. हाईली कॉइल्ड मतलब क्या? एकदम अंदर एक दूसरे में इतने सारे टर्न्स एंड ट्विस्टेड है, राइट, विद इन द स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन. सो वी कैन से इट एज अ हाईली कॉइल्ड स्ट्रक्चर, राइट? सो अबाउट स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन, व्हाट आई कैन से, दैट इज फोर्थ पार्ट ऑफ द एलिमेंट्री कैनाल. Small intestine. So what I can say about small intestine? That small intestine is highly coiled and it is highly coiled, right? It is highly coiled and is about 7.5 meter long, right? स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन, वाई डू वी से स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन? बिकॉज इसकी विड्थ इतनी नहीं है, इसकी विड्थ एकदम छोटी है. सो दैट्स वाई वी से इट एज स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन. अदरवाइज लेंथ तो काफ़ी बड़ी है, राइट? सो वाई डू वी से स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन? जस्ट बिकॉज इट्स विड्थ इज वेरी स्मॉल, इट इज नॉट दैट मच वाइड. ओके, सो स्टमक, आई हैव फॉरगॉट टू से टेल यू that stomach is the widest part of the alimentary canal. Okay, so you can just add a point in stomach like it is a widest part of the alimentary canal. Fine. So in the small intestine we have seen like what does it receives. So there are also many secretions that takes place. So what all secretions takes place? Very first secretion that takes place is from liver. So liver, what does it do? It produces bile juice, right? It produces bile juice, right? So as it produces bile juice, it gets stored into, where does it get stored? It gets stored into gallbladder. Okay, it gets stored into, so this bile juice, what? Stored into gallbladder, right? Okay, it is again a structure near the small intestine, right? Where what? The bile juice which is produced by liver gets stored into the gallbladder. And now what happens? So when the small intestine receives the food from the stomach, the gallbladder secretes the bile juice, right? So what it will do? Okay, what does it do? So the bile juice, it acts on fats. What? It acts on fats. So bile juice, it is produced by liver, stored in gallbladder. So secretion is by gallbladder. Secretion is from gallbladder, and it converts fats into fatty acid and glycerol. Right? So these are the simplest form of the carbohydrate. Okay, that already we have discussed. Like digestion is a process of breakdown of complex food or complex molecule into simple molecule. So simple molecule of a fat is fatty acids and glycerol, right? So this is one of the juice that is secreted, bile juice. The second juice that is secreted is pancreatic juice. Okay, what? From pancreas. From pancreas, what happens? From pancreas, what happens is it produces pancreatic juice, right? What does the pancreatic juice do? Right? So what does it do? So first of all, we will talk about pancreas. Pancreas is a leaf-like structure. Okay, it is a leaf-like structure that is located just below the stomach, right? Just below the stomach. Okay, what does it do? So it acts on all the three nutrients, that is fats, protein and carbohydrates, right? And converts into the simplest form. Understood? So what does it do? Acts on, this juice acts on proteins, fats and carbohydrates. What does it do? Pancreatic juice converts into simple molecules. Okay, what are the simple molecules of protein, fats and carbohydrates? Okay, that we'll be discussing, okay, in the later part, right? So this all takes place. Along with that, in the inner lining of the small intestine, okay, they also secrete intestinal juice. Okay, the third one, that is intestinal juice, right? What does it do? The same thing, that it digests protein, fats and carbohydrate completely. Okay, some of the molecules of the protein, fats and carbohydrate are digested by pancreatic juice, bile juice, and the rest, that is partially digested food, is completely digested by intestinal juice. So what we can say? Converts, yeah, digest, we can say digest, partially digested food into partially digested food completely, right? So complete digestion of food takes place in small intestine, right? In the next part of the chapter, we will see like what absorption and how absorption takes place in small intestine as well as in large intestine, and how is undigested food is excreted out of the body of humans, right? So I hope you have understood. Whatever important points you feel, you can just note down in your textbook as well, right? So thank you class.